Hey everyone, in this video I will show you how to make this ghost world effect. So if I press the E key, I can transition into the ghost world, and if I press E again, I can go back like this with a cool transition effect. And here you can see that there are some ghostly after images of the candle and the table here. And also you can see some smokes moving down the walls like this. You can see a different color of light here if you look at it. And here if I look at this, you can see that there is some color difference from what we have. So here I have a blue color, and over there you can see that I have a green color. So depending on the position of the character, the color kind of changes. And here you can also see that the enemy and the players are highlighted in different colors. So if I press E again, you can see the normal physical world, and if I press E again, you can see the ghost world. And things are kind of different in the ghost world. You can see some distortions happening, and you can also see a lot of changes like this. And with this you can obviously change a lot of parameters. So here I can change how the transition happen and also change the colors. You get all of these settings. So here I'm just going to change the transition angle and the color a little bit. So now I have a look like this. So here you can see that the veil is kind of moving upwards instead of sideways, and we can have this effect. You can also have an inner effect. If I just invert the effect, you can see that I start with this, and if I press the E key here, you can see it kind of opens the veil like this and closes it like that. And we can also change the angle if you want. So you can get an angle like this. We can also have different colors like this. And here you have a control for all the individual colors. So here you have the near and far color, which is C1 and C2. And then there's the character color, the edge color, the enemy color. So if I change the character color to something else like this, I get that color for the character. And here you can see that how it is affecting the particle system of the fire, etc. You can have some after images and some smoke flying around. This will also work in any kind of environment because you have a lot of control. You can control the brightness, the overall saturation, etc. So here if I change the world desaturation, and if I just increase this, you will see that the world will be really desaturated like this. So we can get a look like this. And there is also controls for brightness, etc. So if I give 3 there, we can get a really bright world like this. Also you can individually control the brightness of the enemy, etc. using the color. So this is what we are going to be creating today. And if you want to download the entire finished project file, you can support me on my Patreon. And for $5 you can download this project files and also the project files from almost all my previous tutorials for $5. And if you are already my patron, thank you very much for supporting me. It means a lot to me. So in order to create this effect, we need to create a material. For that, right click, then click material. I will call this M_ghost world, then open it up. Then change the material domain to postprocess. This will let us get some nodes we are not able to get in other material domains. And also we can put this material. Also we can create an instance and put this into your postprocess volume. If you don't have one, you can just search here for postprocess and drag one in. And also you might need to tick infinite extent. And after that you can go to the postprocess material and click add asset reference and add it. So now you can see that this is black. So now to give color to this world, we need to plug that into the MC color. And to get that, we can right click and type in scene texture and change this to post process input 0. And here we might need to mask this and only tick B. Right now, if we connect this like this, it should work. So later when we do some math, if this is a 4 vector, we won't really able to do the math between a 4 vector and a 3 vector with most of the color we are using are going to be. So it is better to mask this between R, G and B. We don't really need the alpha channel. So just connect that to the MC color and click apply. And now we have our normal color. And if you want to give some color to this, we can get a blend overlay and connect this here and connect this to the MC color. And now we can press and hold V and click. We get this vector color. And I will call this near color and connect that to the blend. And we can change this color to a green color like this and click apply. So now we have a green overlay onto our world. Even if you don't have overlay, an add node might work similarly, but it will be really bright. Or you can just saturate this, and if I connect this and click apply, we get some effect like this. Also, there is one more node. It is a multiply node. We can connect this like this, and we get an effect like this. You can experiment with all of these different blend modes and multiply, etc. I'm just going to use blend overlay. So just connect that and click apply. Now we need to create some after images. So after images are basically like many images that kind of comes out of the surface. So it's like we are having a copy of the same image over on top of each other, but with a slight offset in either left or right direction or in any direction you want. So in order to give that offset in one direction, we can go here. We can just duplicate this one, and to give an offset, we can press and hold U and click. This will be the texture coordinate. So here you can see a UV. So we can just connect this here, and before that we can get a add node and connect this here and connect this to the UV here like this. And here we can press and hold S and click to get a scalar parameter. And this one we can call offset. So this will be the offset we move the after images. And here I will press and hold M and click to get this multiply and connect this to A. And here I will set this value to like 2 and connect this to the A. So we are just going to offset this output by 0.01 into 2. And now we can just add this with this one and connect this to the blend overlay and click apply. So we can see that it is really bright. If you want, we can just saturate this, or we can just get a divide node and divide this by 2. Since we have multiplied both of these together, we can just connect this to the base and click apply. So now you can see some after images like that. So we need more after images. So in order to get that, we can just duplicate this, and for this offset we can give a value of 4. This will give us like 2 ghost images. If you want 3, you can just duplicate this again and connect this to the add, change this value to like 8 and add all of them together like this. Now here you can see that this is very bright, so we can fix that by changing the divide by 6. Now click apply. Maybe 6 is a bit too much. Maybe we can change this by 4, maybe 5. I think 5 is fine, and you can see all the offsets here. But I think this is too much, so we can change this value to like 0.001. Now click apply. Now it looks like a blur, which isn't really that good. So maybe change this to like 0.06 or 7. And here we can get a multiply like this and connect this here and get a scalar parameter, and we can call this brightness, and we can call this after image brightness, and I will set this to like 1.2. Now we need to desaturate these after images. Here we can type in desaturate and connect this to the add, and now get a scalar parameter, and we can call this after image desaturation, and I will give a value of 0.9. So this is better. Now one thing we need to do is that we need to also give the original color to the world without the green overlay. So in order to do that, we can just add this one after the blend like this. So now we kind of have our original color and the overlay. So it kind of gives a unique look to everything. Here you can see the candles after image like this. And now we need to distort the after image. Now we need to add distortion to this. But before that, here I made a mistake. Here we need to get a multiply and connect this here and change this to 8 and connect this to B, and for the add we will connect this to the add here like this. So now if I click apply, we get something like this. Now we will distort the after image. So I will just go here, and now to distort this after image we can just use a normal map. So we can go to the starter content, and here you have this water normal map. So I think it has a lot of details which we don't really want. You can bring it out of the engine and into Photoshop or something like that, and you can either reduce the resolution or kind of blur it. So here, in order to make this easier, I will just duplicate this, and if I open this one up, here you can see the LOD bias. If I change this to like 5, it will be a really small blurry texture, and you can use this for now. So I will just bring it into the post-process material, and here I can get an add node, and I can control drag this here, and I can connect this here. So what this texture coordinate node does is that basically if I just get a texture coordinate and connect this to the MC color, here you can see that there is a value of red here and 0 for red and 0 for green here. Here you can see that a 1 for green and 1 for green and red. That's why it's yellow. So it is basically a value in 2 vectors. One is going left to right and one is going top to bottom. So with these 2 values, this image is kind of projected onto the screen. So if you change the values, the way the image is projected is also changed. So if I just get an add node, and if I just add like a small value here and connect this to the MC color, you can see if I just change this value, you can see we are moving the values around. And if I just connect this here and this to the MC color, and if I just move the values around like this, you can see that it is moving the image in different directions like this. So that's basically what is happening with this texture coordinate node and the scene texture. This basically outputs the final result of all the passes, or of all the render depth. Every pass you have, this basically outputs the final result, and on that we can do some processing so that we can get the ghost effect we want. So now I will just connect this back to the MC color, and here this water texture has like 3 channels. We are only going to be using the R and the G channel, since our texture coordinate only has like R, red color and green. So here I kind of showed you what happens when we add a single value to the texture coordinate. It kind of moves the final result around. But if you add these 2 R and G values with a texture which has different values on different occasions, it will do something interesting. So if I just get a component mask like this, and if I get a multiply and get a scalar parameter, and we can call this distortion amount and connect this here and connect this to the add. And now if I change the value to like 0.2, you can see that it is kind of distorting. So if I click apply, you can see that everything is distorted like this. So what is happening here is that since this normal values has different R and G values on different locations, it is kind of moving, it is kind of pushing and pulling different values in our post-process input 0, which is like the final color, in different directions. So that's why we are getting this distortion effect. So we get a distortion effect like this. And if I just get a panel and give a value of 0.2 or something like that, or 3, and click apply, you can say that it is kind of moving. But this effect isn't really that good. But if you like the looks of this, you can keep this kind of like this. A better way to do this is by projecting the neural map onto the world and using that to distort the texture. So if you're cool with this, you can keep this. But if you want to project the texture onto the world, we need a world aligned texture. So right click and get the world aligned texture. Then here we need to get a texture object 2D. So if I just duplicate this, a texture object 2D is something that we can right click and convert to. And this is something that we can just connect to the texture here, like this one. So we can connect this here. This material function needs this because it has a lot of texture samples, and we have to connect that to the texture here, this one. So that's why we can only use a texture object here, but this is fine for us. You can also right click and convert this to a material if you want. So we can call this distortion normal or something like that. Now here for the texture size, we can get a scalar parameter. So press and hold S and click, and I will call this normal size, and I will give it a value of 500. And for the world space normal, we need to give our own world space normal. Since if I open this up, the default one is a vertex normal, which isn't really available in the post-process material. So in order to make this work, we need to give our own world space normal. And the world space normal we can get by just copying this and paste it here. And if I just select this and click here and go to world normal, and we can just connect that to the world space normal. So now I will just move this. We need the distortion amount, so disconnect that, and also the RG. So just disconnect this here and just bring it up and connect this here and connect this to the B here and click apply. Now we have an effect like this. I think the distortion is too strong. So we can change this to like 0.1 and click apply. So we get something like this. But now this is in moving. So we need to make this move. But in order to make this move, you can see that there is no way we can connect a panel here like we did earlier. So we need to do something a little bit more clever here. So for that, here you can see a world position node. So if I get a world position node, so I can just connect it like this. And it really doesn't change anything because we are not moving the world position. So this world position have like 3 channels. It has the up channel, which is the C direction, the forward channel, which is the X direction here, and the right channel, which is the Y direction. So here we can just break this into 3 components, R, G, and B. R and G are for the forward and the right, and B is for the up direction. And here we can drag and type in make float 3, and we can connect R into X, G into Y, and for B we can get a time. So this time value just goes up all the time, like a small addition all the time, basically how time works. And here if we just add this to the B with the multiply and connect this here and connect this to the C here, if we increase the multiply, we can see movement because we are changing the up value with time. So that's why we get this movement. Now if I click apply, you can see that it's moving and we get an effect like this. Now we can add this smoke effect. So for that, we can go to the starter content again, and then we can bring our T smoke tile. We can also bring a blurred smoke if you want, but I'm just going to bring this one. And here basically you can see that we can get an XYZ channel from this one. So in a normal map, here we are not using the C channel. And if you want, you can just channel pack this texture into the C channel or the alpha channel and just use one world aligned texture for the smoke effect. But we don't really have a texture like that, which in this scenario is basically like a vector map, just X and Y channel, and the C channel can carry the smoke texture if you want. So we can just use one of these, but we don't really have that. So I'm just going to duplicate this one and create a texture object from this. And now we can just connect all of this like this. Here for the texture object, I think it's better to create a new parameter. And so I will call this smoke tiling. And for now, I will just set this value to like 600. And for the world position, I'm just going to use this one. And for world space normal, we can use this one. Now here, we can just get a mask, and we only need the R value because we only need the black and white colors. And here we can right click and press the dot or the period key and then click named reroute declaration node, and I will call this smoke R node. So we can use this in different places. Now here we can get a multiply and connect this here and connect this to the add here, and now right click and type in smoke. So we get our smoke R node and connect this here and duplicate both of these and also connect this here like this and click apply. So now you can see the smoke coming down the walls like this. It isn't ready yet, but we will get there. Now we will create the depth based effect. So for that, but before that, we can connect this add to here like this and click apply. So it will give a better result like this. Now we can add the depth based color change. So in order to add the depth based color change, we need to get a node called scene depth. So if I just connect the scene depth to the MC color, it will be really bright. But if I just divide this by a huge value, so here we have this strained result. We don't really want that. So in order to fix this, we can click the result node and here type in blend and change this to before tone mapping and click apply. So now it looks like this. So here if I also connect this to the MC color, so now we have a result like this, which we can change with the material instance later. So we can change all the values here, the brightness, the color, etc. If I just go back here and connect this to the MC color, so here you can see that the things that are closer to the camera is black, and things that are further away are kind of white or grayish. So if I just get a scalar parameter and call this distance and connect this here and click apply. Now if I just open up the instance and here if I just change the distance like this, you can see based on the distance value we can change the color of the things that are closer to the camera and farther to the camera like this. So now with this we can change the color. So if I just connect this to MC color and if I go here and if I get a lerp and connect this to the A, because the 0 value or the black value will be near and the B value or the farther value will be white. So connect this to the blend here and connect this to alpha, and before that I will just saturate this just so that this value don't go above 1 or below 0, because we are connecting this to the alpha and it can cause issues if that goes below 0 or above 1. So now I can get a new vector parameter. So for that, press and hold V and click, and I can call this font color and connect that to the B here and click apply. And here if I look, I cannot see any color, but if I click this and change the value and increase the brightness, you can see the color there. And here for the near color, I will give it a blue hue, maybe like this. And here I can change the distance, so I can control where my color is. So here I can change the distance and control where I want the colors to be. If I go back, you can see the color is changing. And if I just change it like this, I will set this to like 5 or something like that, so it's not too much. So now we have a distortion effect like this, and we can change all the controls here and get different effects that we want. So 0.01 is probably a better value, so because we get an effect like this. We can also change the smoke tiling. So we get something like this. Now we can isolate the characters from the effect and also give highlight color to characters like your enemies and your player characters. So here you can see that the effect is also working on the dragon mesh, but we can isolate this and give it a highlight. So in order to do that, we can go to the material again, and here we can just pull this back, and here just duplicate this and change this to scene depth, duplicate this again and change this to custom depth, and here just tick R only because we only want the linear value. And now we can just subtract the custom depth by the scene depth and seal this so the value is either 0 or 1, and then we can saturate this, so this will just clamp the value between 0 and 1. So the seal will just round the value to the next integer, so 0.5 become 1, 0.9 become 1, etc. and 2.5 becomes 3, but we only need a value between 0 and 1, so the saturate will clamp this value. And now if I just connect this to the MC color and click apply, so here you can see that the dragon is in black, but that is because if I just select this and here for the search I will type in custom, and if I just untick render in custom depth pass, it will be white again. So if you want to isolate something, you need to add that to the custom depth pass. So here we have isolated the dragon, and also I have also isolated the character mesh, etc. because of the demo I showed you before when I started the tutorial. So those are all in custom depth. So here we can see the dragon is in black color and the background is in white. We can use this to give different colors to different elements. So now we can go back to the material, and I will just get a lerp and connect this to the B here, and I will connect this to the alpha here. If this is 0, the output will be from A, and if the value is 1, the output will be from B. So if I just connect this to the MC color and click apply, you can see that the dragon is black and the characters are all black, so they are isolated. Now we can give it a rim light effect. So for that we can get a Fresnel node, and if I just connect the Fresnel here and change the value to 0 here for the base reflect and click apply, you can see the Fresnel isn't really working as it is supposed to. That is because the Fresnel in the post process doesn't really have the normals from the mesh or anything like that. So in order to do that, we will do what we did earlier with the distortion. Here we have given world normal. We can just copy this and paste it here. And now if I just apply, so now you can see that it has a rim light. So in order to give color to it, I will get a multiply and connect it here and connect this to the lerp, and I will get a vector parameter and I will call this character color. And if I just connect this here and change the color to red, you can see that it is highlighted in red. I will just go back, I will change the power to like 8, and the character color I will give a value of 22, so it will be brighter. Now click apply. So now it is bright, but if I hit play, you can see that my character is also red. We don't really want that. We want the character to be a different color and the enemies to be another color. So in order to do that, we need to go to the project settings, and here in the search we can type in stencil, and here select enable with stencil. So what this stencil does is that if I just go back to the material and type in stencil, we get stencil mask compare. And if I just connect this to the MC color, and here if I press and hold 1 and click, I will get this constant value. If I give a value of 1 and connect this and click apply, you can see that the dragons are in white color. So here if I just select the dragon and search for custom, you can see that the custom depth stencil value is 1. If I set this to 0, it will be black. If I set this to like 3, it will be black again. But if I go here and set this to 3 and click apply, see now it's 3 and it's white. So if I select this to 1, it will be black. So that's how we can have different elements at different values. So if I select this to 3, you can see it's white, and if I select something and set this to some other value, we can isolate all of them like that. So if I just open up the character blueprint, and here if I type in custom, here you can see that the render in custom depth is ticked, but the custom stencil value is 0. But for the dragon, the value is 1. So if I go back and change this to 1, we get another mask that we can use to isolate the different characters in custom depth path. So this is 0 with the custom depth stencil, and this is 1. So now to give different colors for this, we can go back here, and here I will just get a lerp and connect this back to the MC color, and connect this here, and connect this to the A, and get another vector parameter, and now I will call this enemy color and connect this to B. Now we can connect this to the multiply and apply, and here I will set the character color to white, and I will set the enemy color to red. Now if I press play, you can see that the character is in white and the enemies are in red. And we also have our ghost effect working like this. Now we can create the screen transition effect from the ghost world to the physical world and other way around. So go back to the material, and here we can get a lerp and connect this to B and connect this to the MC color, and here I can just duplicate this or copy that and paste it here and connect this to A. And now here I will just get a scalar parameter and call this alpha, and now I will get a linear gradient. So this will basically give us a gradient in different direction, the vertical and the right direction like this. And here I will just multiply this value by 2 and subtract, and here I will also subtract this value and connect this here and connect this to the MC color. And here if I change the alpha, you can see that I can move the gradient from top to bottom like this. And if you want this to be more defined, we can just use a round node. So it will round every value that is above 0.5 to 1 and below 0.5 to 0. So here we get a defined line like this, and I will just set the slider max to 1 and click apply. And now here if I change the alpha, you can see that I can move this like this. And one more thing we might have to do is that we might need to saturate this so this value doesn't go above or below 1, so like that. So now we get an effect like this. So if I just change the gradient, I can get this also. But if I want to just rotate it, we can get a custom rotator and connect this here and get a scalar parameter, and we can call this rotation and connect this to the angle and click apply. We need to give a UV coordinate, so get a UV coordinate and connect that. And now if I change the rotation angle, you can see that I can rotate it like this any way I want, and I can move it like this also. But if you want to like a door opening effect, we can just, since if I just 1 minus this, it will just reverse that effect like that. So if you want to have a door opening like effect, we can just multiply this 1 minus with this one like this. And now if I just change the alpha, you can see that it is opening the door like this, which is pretty cool. I will just change the rotation to like 0. So we get an effect like this. Now if I just connect this to the alpha and connect this to the MC color and click apply, you can see the effect of the alpha like this. So now we need to give it some smoke effect and some edge effect. So in order to do that, so now select all of these nodes and move it here. And here we can see the alpha and the other one here like this. So here we can get another lerp and connect this here and connect this to the B here. And for the alpha here, we can just get a power node and get an add node and give a value of like 0.1 and round this and connect this to the alpha. Now get a vector parameter and we can call this edge color and connect this here and click apply. Now if I just change the alpha like this, we cannot see anything. So click on the edge color and give it a value, but it's a really huge value. Now we need to fix this. So now get a scalar parameter and we can call this edge size and connect this here. And we can also get another scalar parameter and we can call this edge power and connect this here and click apply. Now set the edge power to like 6 and the edge size to 0.01. So we get something like this. We need to fix this. Get a saturate node here. So this value doesn't go above or below 1 and connect this to the alpha. And here just connect this to the base here from the subtract like that. And now click apply. Now if I change the alpha, you don't really get anything, but now we can change the size to 0.05 and the color to like this. And we can also change the edge power, but it doesn't really change anything. So let's fix that. So go here and now bring it back down and connect this to the round here. Now click apply. And now if I change the alpha, you can see that I get this lines here. I can change the edge color to this violet color. Now I can change the edge size to 0.01 or 0.01 like this one. And now if I change the alpha, I can change the color like this. Also I can change this to like 2 for the value, maybe like 10 or something like that, so it's a little bit brighter. Now I can also change the edge power like this. So depending on the value it kind of changes. I will just set this to like 3 or something, maybe like 2. Now I can change the alpha like this, so I get this effect. Maybe the edge size is a bit too much. I think this is better. Now I can change the alpha and get an effect like this. Now we can add some smoke effect here. So for that, we can just get another power from the power here like this. And now get a scalar parameter and we can call this smoke edge power, and I will default this to 2 also. Then get a multiply. Then we can bring in this smoke texture and a panner, and I will pan it up like this and connect this to the UV and connect this to the B here and add this before the round like this and connect this here. We need to add this after the round, so move the round between these two adds and connect this to the saturate and click apply. So now we get an effect like this. Now if I just select the edge smoke and increase the power, we get something like this. And now if I change the alpha, I can get an effect like this. And now I can select the rotation and change this to 1 or 0.25. So we get an effect like this. Now we can change this like this. And here we can go back. I will select all of these like this and bring it down here. And here I will just get a texture coordinate and get a multiply and change this to like 2. So it will tile better and click apply. And it's better looking. And you can also change the speed if you want, etc. So now the alpha can change the effect like this. I can change the color like this. Now here if you have the water normal, you can also bring that in, and you can also add this with this one and mask this and get a multiply and give a value of 0.1 or something like that. So now we will get these squiggly lines. You can also add a panel here if you want, but I'm not really going to. So now let's control all of this with a blueprint. So for that, we have this alpha. We need to create a collection parameter so we can control those values using the blueprint. So right click, materials, material parameter collection, and I will call this PC ghost alpha. Then open it up. Then click add for the scalar parameter, and here we can call this alpha. And now we can go back to the material, and here we can type in right click collection parameter, and we can change this value to alpha for the PC ghost alpha and connect this here. Now we can control this with the blueprint. So now we can go back to the third person blueprint or character blueprint. Now here I will right click and type in R keyboard event, and I will get a flip flop Now we can get a timeline and we can call this ghost switch timeline. Then connect A to play and B to reverse. So when you press R1, the A will fire and it will play. And if you press R again, the B will fire and it will reverse. Now go back to the timeline and set the length to 2 and add a float track and click here and set the time to 0 and the value to 0 and shift click and change the time to 2 and the value to 1. Now click this. So we can normalize the view. Now go back here and in the update drag and type in set scalar parameter value and change the collection to the PC Ghost alpha we created and change the parameter name to alpha. Now connect that to the parameter value. Now click compile and press play. Now if I press the R key, you can see the effect happening. If you want to test different colors really fastly, we can go back here and here I can type in hue, shift and connect this to the texture and connect this to A here and get a scalar parameter and I will type in hue. Now you can select all of these colors like this one, or you can just select the hue and change it. So we can affect the overall color with that one. So if I press R, now we get a different effect like this one. So here in the post-process material, this material will always run even if this alpha value is 0 or 1. So even if this is 0 and even if you are not seeing the effect, this post-process material is always running in the background if you do it like this. So if you want to do it with Blueprint, you can do that. You can add or remove the post-process material onto the camera. You can watch some of my earlier tutorials to see that. And you can also create a post-process blueprint to add or remove them if you really don't want this to run in the background when the alpha is 0. So all of this stuff will run in the background even if the alpha is 0 if you don't remove this from the post-process material. So if you really want this effect to happen all the time and it has to be really fluid, you can do it like this. Or if you just want to use it as a one-off effect, you can use a blueprint to better control this, and you can remove this after your need is fulfilled with this post-process material. So let's see if this is working again. So I will press R, so I get this effect and I can move around, and you can also see the ghost effect happening and everything like that. So I forgot to show you something else. So if I just open the third person map, and now if I just add our new material to the post process here, and if I go here and if I press R, you can see that the sky kind of looks really weird, and for this we need to mask out the sky. So in order to do that, go back to the material. Now here if I just get the scene depth and an if node and connect this to A, and for the distance I will just give a really big distance like this. So this B value is the value we compare it with, and now get two constants, and if the scene depth is greater than this distance, then we give a value of 1, and equal to we give a value of 1 also. And here if A is less than B, then we can give a value 0. So if I just connect this to the MC and click apply, you can see that the sky is white and everything else is black. So we can use this to mask out the sky. So I will just connect this to the MC again, and now I will go here and get a lerp and connect this to A because the sky is white and that should be B. So if I connect this to the alpha, the sky will be the color that we give to the B. Now connect this to lerp here, and if I get a vector parameter and call this sky color and connect this to B and click apply, and now if I just press play and press the R key, you can see that the sky is black. But if you want to give some color to it, now here if you want to show the sky with an overlay, we have the sky color here. We can go here and copy our post process input 0 and paste it here and get a multiply node and connect this here and connect this here and connect this to B and click apply. Now if I just open this one up and change the sky to a greenish color like this, and now if I just press play and press R, we have this color like this. That is because the hue changed. So if I just reset the hue, and now if I press R, we can see the sky like this. So I think that's it for the tutorial, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and if you want to download the entire project file, you can support me on my Patreon. Thank you very much.